Hello and good evening. I hope you all can hear me. I hope you can hear. My name is Mr. Arthur. I'm the head of digital learning for the region school. And today I'm talking on cyber safety, educating the first century parents. Cyber safety, educating the first century parents. Some of the topics that we're going to talk about today would be on student safety, cyberbullying, texting, online security, digital citizenship, copyright and plagiarism, safe gaming, social media, and finally, family media agreement. Without wasting time, we're going to start with what we mean by student safety. Technology is part of our everyday life. None of us can say that we can actually go 24 hours without making use of technology at home or even at our workplace. Similar situation also happens to that of teenagers and most importantly to TRSS students. Here at the Regents Secondary School, we try to inculcate into our students to be good makers, both at home and at school when they are using technology. Also, there's a need for us to understand that these young guys, say 12, 16, or even sometimes 10, 18, are more technologically exposed than some of us. No matter how hard you try, it is almost impossible to catch up with them. Some say they were born into technology. Some say we were born after technology. In whichever ideology that you do believe in, it is almost impossible for us to catch up with the teens when it comes to technology. Hence, there's a need for us to restrict the use of technology. Having your kid or your teen in the World Wide Web, no restriction, yes, of course, has its own benefits, but trust me, it also has its own difficulties at times. We did an online safety survey in 2020 and 2021. It's a survey that we do almost every year to know more about our students and the use of technology. Now, it will interest you to know that majority of our students don't want to talk about technology or internet, computer with parents. They don't want to discuss technology at all with parents. 1.5. Me as a educational technologist, I find this very disturbing as to why your own child doesn't want to talk to you about technology. Again, we did a survey as well, and it was interesting to know that majority of our students are using Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp. Those are the leading ones. But it varies. Further division shows that year 11 and year 10 are more of using Instagram and Snapchat than or comparing it with year 7 and year 8. Year 7 and year 8 are more of using newer application called Discord. I don't know how some of us who are privy to this very application. I tried using it and I was not amused at all. I didn't understand it, unlike other applications. Again, there is another application that they also find interesting called Omni. It's one of the things that it's very, very scary, especially this very one of Omni. The sense that you create an account and you just start chatting with strangers. The application itself would match you with strangers, and then you start chatting. So this is what majority of us of our students say they use. We ask the question that what is their biggest threat to them when using technology? What is their biggest fear, if I can put that? They were talking about being bullied or being harassed by friends. And majority of them said they are actually scared of coming across inappropriate content. Inappropriate content. So therefore, the remaining part of my discussion with you parents is going to be based on how can we protect our young ones from being bullied, and most importantly, how are we going to protect our children from accessing or coming across inappropriate content. Cyberbullying. I will not waste much time of it, since most of us, or all of us by now, knows what cyberbullying is about. But there's something that I want to draw your attention to. We have had situations where kids are tormented, threatened, humiliated, embarrassed, and that's because of what happened on the internet. This, of course, goes a long way to affect so many things. Academically, it's supposed to affect them. Emotionally, it's supposed to, psychologically, it's supposed and on and on and on. So then the question, how do we protect our young ones from cyberbullying? There are so many forms of cyberbullying. Some of us usually think when we talk about cyberbullying, we are talking about being threatened online or somebody bullying, using the word bullying again, online. But it goes way beyond that. Our students do understand that even using websites to rate your friends from prettiest to ugliest, it's not even allowed here in the Regents Academy School. Or creating a website to make fun of each other or even a teacher, it's not acceptable. As a matter of fact, there's zero tolerance for bullying, any form of bullying. Bullying, you are out of the Regents Academy School, because we do understand the consequences of bullying someone because you think the person is different. We have also had situations where kids are also tricked into revealing personal or embarrassing information between seniors and juniors. So these are some forms of bullying that occur not only at the Regents Academy School, but it occurs almost everywhere within the internet space. Texting. As the name suggests, it's just testing, but more talking about inappropriate content or inappropriate or sharing any form of inappropriate information. From what we have gathered at the school, teens or our students are enticed to show off or show interest or to prove commitment to a friend. So therefore, they feel if I don't share, if I don't send, I don't belong to this particular group of people. But one thing that we need to talk to our children about is that the internet does not forget. The internet does not forget. No matter how creative we think it is, it has its own dark side. And one of it is anything that you send out there, especially if it gets into wrong hands, it stays there forever. And therefore, it also come back to the same point I was raising when it came on cyberbullying. So it also has its own effect on the person who sent whichever text, information, or even photos as well. However, there are legal consequences for sending sexual images of minors or even of your own peers. So it's very important to have discussion with our children about the effect of sending such messages. How do we prevent sexting? as parents. How do we prevent sexting as parents? The first and most important thing is you don't have to wait till the incident happens before you talk to your child about sexting. I repeat, you don't have to wait for it to happen before you talk to the world about sexting. It should be an ongoing discussion between yourself and your children, the many. And once again, you constantly have to remind them that once the image is sent, it can never be retrieved. Once the image is sent, it can never be retrieved. And they shouldn't, of course, feel pressured by their peers send revealing photos because their friends are doing the same. They shouldn't. And lastly, the best way to stop or to teach yourself to stop it is that once it gets to them, it stops. In a term that we say, teach them that the box stops with me. So your child don't have to forward it when he or she receives it. We try as much as possible to sensitize them that even if you don't send, but you aid in sending, you're as guilty as the person who started sharing it. So please keep talking to them that once it gets to you, you don't forward it, you don't send it, you don't share it with all, you don't reply it with all. All you need to do is stop and report to any responsible adult. Responsible adults here can be parents, can be teachers, staff at the Regent Secondary School, and we can take it from here. Online security. Online security. It is also crucial for us to teach our kids about online security. Most often when I have discussion with teens, they are so much comfortable with the internet to share any information at all. So some of them are filling forms. They will not even read the forms properly, or they will not even cross-check to know how secure the website is. And they start by giving information such as where you live, your guardian's email addresses, and telephone numbers of that sort. It's very important that we have a continuous discussion with our children to understand that, yes, of course, there's so many potential the internet brings to us. At the same time, it is not as safe as they think it is. They need to be careful of which information that they are asking. I know for sure that when most of us were growing up, we're not told to share certain information with strangers. Those days, strangers are the ones that we meet on the road. This time around, strangers are the ones that we are meeting online, on social media, on websites. So they need to understand that the same trick, but in a different form. The same trick in a different form. How can we ensure online security? First and foremost is strong passwords. Strong passwords. There's the instance where you ask students that what's your password. The first thing you hear is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next thing probably you can hear is probably an ATM pin. The next thing you can hear is A, B, C, D, F or something, just because they don't want to forget. Please, it is important for us also to exhibit the same behavior that we want our kids to have. Not because you as a parent also don't want to forget your password. You are putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and having them go back to tell each other. It's important that you have a stronger password that has capital, small letters, numbers, and so on and so forth. And again, we should also have discussion with them that they should think twice before downloading any content from the internet. They should think twice before downloading any content from the internet. One thing I also mentioned it earlier on, be careful sharing the information. especially if they're not even certain what they're using the information for. And their ability to also recognize spam email as well. So these are some of the ways where we can ensure that our teens are somehow safe on when it comes to browsing the internet. One of the things that we hadn't talked about as parents, I don't know, probably because of the location or where we are located, is copyright and plagiarism. Copyright and plagiarism. Elsewhere, it is a serious crime to steal someone's intellectual property. Please bear in mind that most of our kids are going to finish the Richard Secondary School and they're going to go into A-level or IB colleges, and therefore there's a need to know what is copyright and what is plagiarism. They need to know the distinction between the two. At what point in time do I give due credit to the person's article, work, song, photo, video that I'm using for my own personal use or for my academic purpose? Or is it also okay for me to copy an entire article and submit as if it's my own? Then academic institution is also termed as academic dishonesty, which is also a serious crime. So please do have a constant conversation with your children about academic integrity, which consists of copyright and plagiarism. In subjects like global perspectives in the Richard Secondary School, we are constantly talking to them about avoiding copying word to word from the internet because they want to hurry up and then go and play game or go and just with their friends, or pretending as if submitting a work is their own without giving credit or citing the person who they copied the work from, and so on and so forth. So please, it's very important that we have those conversations with an ongoing conversation with our children. Gaming. In the past, it was quite easy to play games because most of them were not online based. So you buy PS2 or PS3 at that time, and you are certain that that cannot be connected to the internet. You basically have to buy a CD and the child can use to play. Things have moved on. There are stories where parents think they have blocked their laptops, they have taken down their phones, they are taking down their iPads, whatever is there, that they forgot that they didn't take the console. The console is connected to the internet and they start browsing. It's possible. Safe gaming is one of the things that personally I'm really passionate about it because it's very, very, very addictive and it opens you to a whole lot. This is how it works. You are basically playing games with someone who you don't know, probably because you are tired of playing with your friends. So you want new level, new challenge. So you go into the world wide and start playing with games that you don't know. From there, you start exchanging contacts, and then it moves on and goes on and goes on and goes on. We should be curious and talk to our boys, especially on the kind of games that they are playing. Most of them, when they are seated, they have headphones on and they will start talking from the beginning to the end, usually what we call trash talking, and they have a conversation with strangers. It's more or less like having a stranger in your house. So please, let's make sure that we are aware of the games that our kids are playing. Most of this doesn't take long. It's just a conversation. And then, as adult as you are, you can go further, and of course, you cannot outsmart you in that regard when you keep asking questions. The risk in gaming here includes giving away personal information, downloading cheats. It's also linked to what I earlier discussed about copyright and plagiarism. So because the level is challenging, they start going Googling for cheat. Obviously, the child is teaching himself on how to cheat. So because I cannot reach this level, I want to start cheating. If the child then gets opportunity in any way, any form, the child would want to cheat. And most games actually brings a whole lot of viruses into the device that they are using, which of course can steal your personal information, which of course can also damage the devices, which are usually very, very expensive. And once again, gaming is very, very, very addicted. It's very, very addicted. It's very important that even though they are 16, they are 15, they are 14, they should have a screen time. They should have a screen time. There should be a time where they have to put the screen down. There should be a time that they have to put the screen down. I will not ever subscribe to the fact that because we're in a digital age, kids are supposed to have their tablets, they are supposed to have their phones, they're supposed to have a digital device with them from dawn to dusk. How do we ensure safe gaming? How do we ensure safe gaming? The most important one is investing in a proper antivirus. Investing in a proper antivirus. I don't know if I should call it a lie. Some of us use Mac, and we have been told that oh, Mac cannot be infected with virus. That is a lie as well. That is a lie. Please talk to any IT person who can recommend a proper antivirus software for you to have on your child system, your own system as well, to avoid all those risks I already mentioned. Again, games have ratings, age ratings on it, recommended age on it. Some of it is not good for kids under 12 years, some is not good for kids under 16. So please be curious, please find out what's the age restriction on any game that you buy for your kids. And they can recommend the game that they want, it's allowed, but please, it only takes 5 minutes at most to Google the rating for any game using research, and you get a response without even asking them. I will not waste much time on social media because almost everyone here is an expert when it comes to talking about the dangers of social media. Almost all of us here are experts when it comes to dangers of social media. So I wouldn't want to waste much time here, but it's just to let you know that the dangers are still there. The dangers are still there, and it is changing. It is changing. We're all aware that even Facebook now has changed. I'm going to say Facebook, I'm referring to the parent's name, not the app itself, has changed its name to Meta. And Metaverse in their sense means the virtual world. So almost every single thing that we are doing now is moving towards the virtual world. So the social media is really here to stay. And what has been getting interesting is almost every social media application now, you can actually send a photo to someone and thinking that it's vanished within 24 hours, or it can vanish right after the person has viewed the photo. But please do remember that we can still record the screen. We can still grab our screens, grab the screen and share whichever information that you're preventing from which view multiple times. Yes, of course, there are various advantages of social media. You know them. And while we're having this conversation, it's not necessarily really about the advantages of it, but it is about the disadvantages. And as parents, I do or strongly do believe that we all know about the dangers of social media. So we are talking about it can lead to promoting talent, everything, but once again, dangers are still out there. There's a concept called digital citizenship. There's a concept called digital citizenship. The word citizenship itself means someone who cares or adores being a citizen of a particular place. So somebody called a good citizen of Nigeria, obviously, is what's right as Nigerian. The term digital citizenship is also correct in that regard. At the Richard Secondary School, we have what we call the digital ETC every Thursday, where we talk to the students constantly every Thursday about the internet. It's one of the topics that shouldn't get boring, or it should never get boring if you have the right approach. It's one of the things that we have to constantly talking to our kids about. What do you mean by digital citizenship, and how do we promote digital citizenship? Also in line with the concept that we call digital footprint, which states that whatever you do out there is out there. It's really out there. There's a case that I am currently investigating, and it's very, very interesting, and I don't mind sharing with all of you at this point. So a student uses another student's computer, access his email. He forgets to log out. The student then signs in using that student who forgot to log in to log out account, access his Google Slides, and starts using that to abuse other people, thinking that if he signs out from his own account, there's no trace, and then we can't find him. Unfortunately, no matter how clever they think they are, there's always a way or one or two evidence that will be left for us to trace. So please have a conversation with them. Yes, of course, we are talking to them about becoming a good citizen of Nigeria. You should also have to talk to them about being a good digital citizen as well. Living always trying to leave a positive digital footprint. So if I use a public computer, or if I use my brother's computer, my dad's computer, I log out. I don't have to say that because it's my daddy's laptop, I'm not going to log out. I need to. It's a sign of being a good digital citizen. Okay, and they always have to be nice. They always have to be nice. You not being nice has a tendency of you telling or you becoming a bully online as well. So they always have to be nice towards each other, not just their peers, both younger ones and even adults. There's some students that they will send email, you would check again and see, is this person a student? Correct salutation, correct title, everything is really on point. There are some that don't even really care. For example, just an email, can I come from my laptop? Nothing of that shows that this person is a digital citizen. Please bear in mind that the year that the future that they are going to is not what we are experiencing now. The future that they are going to is not what we are experiencing now, even though we are having a taste of it. So it is very important that we talk to them about being good digital citizens. Again, they should resist the temptation or peer pressure of sending suggestive material. They should resist that temptation or pressure from friends of sending such material. We ask this question: do your parents or guardians have rules about internet use in your house? Do your parents or guardians have rules about internet use in your house? Majority of our students said, I'll go for no. They said no, there's no rules. There's no rules at all. So parents don't have rules governing how they should use internet, how they should use devices at home. This is very, very, very dangerous. This is very, very, very dangerous. In my classroom, for example, I treat the laptops they bring into my classroom as if it is their textbook. In my classroom, they treat their laptop just like the way they would treat their textbook. So a student will not just come into my classroom, have not greeted, will just sit down and open the computer and start using it. It doesn't work like that in my classroom, for example. It's still what we consider as an instructional material. So, okay, good morning, class. Okay, now you can open this task, do this task, and close it. So it is guided. With this, we are ensuring state compliance with the use of those devices. Not having restriction on computer or the internet is basically telling them that they just go out to their friends and do whatever that they want to do. Or believing that, okay, my boy says he's learning, so he's learning. He's not. The internet is very, very destructive. Sometimes you may be watching a YouTube video and you would even have an advert. You click on an advert before you realize you have moved from the YouTube channel and you're doing something else. So constantly, we'll need to check on what our kids are doing. So therefore, is there the need for us to have a continued discussion about rules and regulations in your house on how to use internet, how to use their phones, and how to use other gadgets as well? Here's a question for those who said they have rules. We ask them, how do you feel about those rules? And it's interesting to know that for those of them who actually said that they are okay with the rules at home, they said they know it is for their benefit and protection. They know it is for their benefit and protection. 16.1% says it annoys me. It makes me feel that they don't trust me. 28.6 said it's okay. I get plenty of time online as well, so they don't really care. Please, it is okay if they are annoyed that you have rules in your house. It is okay if they get annoyed because you have restrictions on when, how, where they should use their devices. It's okay if they get annoyed. So this data is there for us to know that is there actually the need for us to be talking to our children on how to govern internet in our houses. The final part of this discussion is going to talk about what we call family media agreement. Family media agreement. It is actually a new concept started by Google as well. Google, just like any other social internet-based application, are also of the view that there should actually be an agreement between a family and children. Family here, I'm referring to parents and the children. There should be an agreement. It is very, very important. I've said it so many times in my previous information session that if you go to a shop and you buy a new computer and you buy a new phone, the iPhone or even any Android phone, and you wrap it, you put a nice ribbon on it, and you surprise your child. Say, congratulations, this is a new phone. I would say you are leading your child on to the dark web as a parent. I repeat, if you buy a new device and you just give it to the parent and to the child because probably he has been pestering you to get a new device or because he excelled in the exam and you want to surprise him or her, please do not. All these applications come with restrictions. And as parents, you need to activate these restrictions before you give it out to your child, boy or girl. You need to set up those restrictions before giving it out to them. If you have no clue on how it is done, please feel free, come into the Regent Secondary School, ask for any of the ICT team. We are ever ready to support you to put restrictions in there. On my personal phone, for example, I have my own restriction. I can use, say, Facebook for only 30 minutes and it will log me out, even though it's my own phone. I can use Snapchat for some time and it will log me out. Even WhatsApp, I can use WhatsApp for some time and it will log me out because I put restrictions on there for myself. So please, if you want to find out more on how to set those restrictions, it is fine. Please talk to any of the IT team members at the Regional Secondary School and would help you to set it. Once again, if the device is already in use, yes, we can still help you to configure it. We can still help you to configure it so that even though you are busy, you are sure that there are restrictions on the child's phone. There is a document that would be shared to all parents. It's just a sample of the media agreements that you can adopt in your house that you can use to initiate conversation between yourself and your children. It's a more friendly approach. And it will be shared with all parents so that we will have a view of how it looks like and adopt it if we want. In the course of my presentation, I've already shared a lot of tips on how we can help our children. I'll go over them again. One is there should be a limit. There should be a limit. And I repeat, there should be a limit on how many times time. That's the when, the where, and whichever application that they would want to access. There should be a restriction. There should be a restriction. There are some families that I know that there is this basket that they have created, and they know it's a standing order. At exactly 9 p.m., your phone, you drop your phone. You don't even take your phone to your room. You don't even drop your phone. So it's different family and different rules. Some say, okay, I trust my child, so I'm probably going to leave them. But there are instances in the school where children come to school and say, oh, I'm sleepy. I've been online all throughout the night. I was with my friends. The solution is simple. It's your house. It's your own rules. Why can't they submit their phones at 9 or at 10 when it's their bedtime? It's not negotiable. I'm not coming for it. Once you think you are sleepy, there's a box in front of my room. Come and drop it. And in the morning, you check if the phone is dropped or something. That's all part of the family agreement that you can establish between yourself and your children. Again, so if they say they are learning, you just trust them, or you once again go around to check if indeed they are learning. I did a survey myself. There is this, most of us might know, Squid Game, which was #1 on Netflix. The age is not for less than 16, 18 plus. So one of my classes, I started playing the tune that most of us know, and believe you me, most of them fall for it. We started playing along. So restrictions. I know some families have a Netflix account where mommy, daddy, all of them have created their own account, as well as different accounts for children. And then once in a while, they go there to see which movies that they are watching. That is perfect. That is allowed. You're not just there to pay for the Netflix and you don't know the kind of movies that they are watching. Please be reminded that Netflix is a profit-oriented company. At the end of the day, they're here for profit. At the end of the day, and not necessarily about the security of your child. Please have that in mind. Okay, I've also made mention of putting restrictions on mobile devices, which includes even iWatch or smartwatch. You can put restrictions on them. If you don't know how it is done and you don't want to talk to your boy or girl about it, please once again come into Regional Secondary School, speak to any of my team members, ICT team members. We are ready to accept whatever you want us to tell or teach. As a parent, I know we all use internet for different reasons, but please find time to surprise your children. I was a house parent in the Regent boarding for close to say 6 years, and I owe no child permission to take your laptop to go through your history as a head of digital learning. So I can just see you would have, I'm just curious, what are you interested in? I will pick your laptop, go to settings, go to history. And because it's a surprise check, there's so many things that I see, and I start talking to the person involved. It is okay to trust that your child knows what he's doing. And it's okay also to be in the know of what your child is doing. It's two different things. It's two different things. We started implementing what we call the net support here at the Regent Secondary School. And most of the children were like, why are they spying on us? Even though we are not spying on them, I told them, yes, I'm spying on you. I'm not afraid to say it in your face. Yes, I'm spying on you. If you have nothing in your closet, don't be afraid. If, of course, you are using the Google Classroom, you're using the YouTube, why would you be scared of Mr. Arthur collecting your iPad, your computer? So please, it is okay to be in the know as well. And finally, please set rules. Finally, please set rules. So thank you very much. I've come to the end of my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions right now. If you want to unmute and talk, it is allowed. If also you want to write it in the comments section, we'll read it and then we'll answer them. And if you also feel that you want to make it one-on-one, my email is also written down here, arthur@regentschoolabuja.com. So, any question so far? Hello, Mr. Jefferson. Do you have any questions so far, Mr. Jefferson? Mr. Jefferson.
Yes, we have a question from a parent who's asking how they should set these internet limit rules. And she's expressing that it's quite challenging to get them off the internet because they use online homework as excuse to always be online.
Okay, you want to answer that? I should go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, so even though I'm just talking set limits and all that, it is not as easy as I'm saying it. I have a set of twins. They are 4 years old, and even getting them off their iPad as an educational technologist is not easy. But the first step is communication. Communication. Students have told us that some parents have mood swings. So this is what happens. And today, they're in a good mood. So they're using their computer, they don't mind. So yeah, so the child is actually on his computer from dawn to dusk. But as soon as the mood switches, there is anger, you're shouting. Why use your computer? Why are you using your computer? There's no proper communication. Yes, you need to understand that your child is using their device for homework, which of course is something that Regent is doing. All our homeworks are on Google platform. However, if your child say to you that this is my schedule. I come home after 5, I rest, have dinner, 7, I watch TV for a while, and I learn from 8 to say 9:30 or 8 to 10. It is assumed that the laptop is being used from what? 8 to 10. And then he or she dropped the laptop. I will not advise any parent say that, okay, because you said you are learning overnight, use the laptop overnight. We are having what we call a hybrid session now. Yes, they have a digital form of their textbook and they have their textbook. We are not stopping them to learn beyond 10 p.m. We're not stopping them to learn beyond 9 p.m. But 10 p.m., 9 p.m., please drop the laptop and please take the textbook and use. That is doable. That is doable. It is the fact that I said do your homework doesn't mean be on YouTube from 7 p.m. to 10. It's a big fat lie. It's a big fat lie. So please, let's have that in mind. And once again, it's a constant conversation. We are not coming for this information session and you would think that it's going to work by Saturday morning. It's an ongoing conversation that you need to have, okay, with your children. I hope I answered this question to the best of my knowledge.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Atta. In addition to that, this is actually a question that hits or touches on most of the discussion points today. In addition to that, we would also recommend that you speak to your ISP to have or to get access to the control panel of the router that's serving your home. If you're able to have access to the control panel, it's your right to do that, to have access to it. You can set restrictions there. So the internet turns up on its own, or the router turns up the internet at a certain time. Or you could just simply ask your providers to send you an engineer to help you do that setting. Almost every single router provided by the ISPs do that. Even if you're using the regular telcos as routers, the MTN, Glo, or whatever, they also have settings to allow you to turn off the internet at certain times. So you do not have to be there for the internet to turn off, and the students will not have access to that platform. And on the second note, you could also use special softwares. At Regent Secondary School, we do have special softwares we use in monitoring our students' devices. We also monitor every of their activity on our classroom platforms and every other platform we use for teaching and learning. So what you could also do is use a software such as NetSupport to monitor what time the device can be turned on at all. So it's not enough to turn off the internet. Of course, certain content could be downloaded and then consumed after access to the internet. What you could also do is limit when the device can be turned on. So you could set it to 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. only. And if they try turning the device on after 9 p.m. or even at 9 p.m., the device shuts down by itself, and then they do not have access to that. If you need further clarifications or further ways to do this, to put in restrictions, definitely we're always handy. You could email Mr. Atta directly or email myself, ictmanager@regentschoolabuja.com, and we will be very, very happy to respond to you and to explore all the options that suit your need. Thank you very much for the question.
Okay. So in the absence of no further questions, if you want a one-on-one discussion, that is my email, and talk more on this topic. So thank you very much for coming, and I hope you learned something.